Hello, I'm back with part 3 of the Flip Flop Folio series, and I have the pickup truck one, I think, completed. I think I'm done with it. So I didn't really decorate the cover because it's so complete as it is. Just have a couple spots where I've got holes going through with the reinforcers. But I've added, since the last video, I've added a few more decorative things. This is 3 layers of paper. The sentiment, a little layer of beige paper, which is this paper, and more of the matte paper, which is here. Plus I decorated the tag that's inside it, specifically with the recipient in mind. I think the butterfly was already on there when I stopped last time. And then the back side of this little flip out, I've put another little journaling spot and a tape measure and some more of the map and a postage stamp. And I don't think there's anything new there. You saw that, I believe. And then I've put some map and a butterfly here. I can't remember if that was on or not. I've made or put some little tiny journaling cards in these little pockets. These were out of the same calendar that the cover came from. And then a milk bottle cap, paper one. And then this teeny little music envelope that I made. I have a punch for these. And then I folded up a tiny little piece of paper in it, which has woodworking joinery, because the recipient, he does woodworking. So I know he'll appreciate that little piece of paper. I liked those together. I inked the edges on that. And then this one is actually the same picture that's on the cover, if you can see that. And I just inked around it. These have already, I don't even think I backed these. They were just white on the back. And I've left the pickup truck showing because he's a car guy. And then this little piece of paper is just another piece of this. And I just folded it up so it's skinny enough to go in that pocket because I needed something really thin in there. A tag was going to be hard to get in and out. This is actually hard to get in and out. But I really like the way when you unfold this, you can see the man. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but I've inked all the edges, rounded all the corners, just so it doesn't just look like a piece of paper. It has some style to it. And then this is their first name initials. Some of you might be able to guess who it's for by that and some of the things that I've said. And then this is still hard to get in, so I actually had to cut it a little shorter so that it's not sticking up past the top because it's too fragile for that. And then this first flip out that I did, I decorated the front a little more and I decorated the back a little more. I signed it here. And then I decorated the card with some napkin and a little bit of a collage. Nothing extra on the back. That's just writing space or whatever. And I try to get it so that that tab is lined up with the cutout. And then in this little envelope, I didn't really decorate it much. I inked the edges, but I made another little pad of paper and did a little collage on the front. This is a little piece that I cut off the cover so it coordinates. And then that's just that same paper, and that's just stapled together. Not much going on there, but I didn't want to leave the envelope empty. And then this little collage I added because it was a bare spot. And I just inked the edges on the notepads. Yeah, so I'm calling that done. And so we're going to keep this handy as a reference when I'm doing this wagon one, because it was close to being done, but not completely. I've still got a lot of decorating to do. And that's why I kind of did the other one, to work out some of the ways that I might want to decorate it. And I've pulled a bunch of ephemera and stuff to try to use. So we'll see where we end up with it. So I think the first thing I'll do is make the tags for inside the pockets. So this tag is the cutoff from the other journal that I used for here. So I just need to cut it to length. So I think I'm going to start by cutting it about here and then try it in the pocket and see how it fits. I rearranged my desk this morning a little bit. Hubby was going out at noon, and it's just a few minutes past noon now. It's 12:39. So I was ready to do a video at 10, and I thought, no, I better wait till he leaves, because otherwise he's probably going to come in and start getting ready to go just when I'm filming. So I tidied up my desk, a little bit on my craft cart too, but I'm mostly focused on tidying up my desk. And so hopefully I won't be looking for things too much. Tried to keep things where I've had them for the last little while, but just tidy it. Get rid of some of the junk that's accumulated and tidy it up. So try to keep things within reach. I'm just going to use this because that tore on me. And it did it again, but this time it tore on the white sheet. So that's my sacrificial tear sheet. And then I'll go back here and see if this fits now. It's still a little tight. I want it to be easy to put in and out, so I'm going to cut it again. Yeah, hubby has to go to a celebration of life for a cousin of his that died back just before Christmas. And his mom really wants to go. We're not much for funerals, but of course her generation is more into them. I don't even think I ever met the man. If I did, it was at a family reunion in 2000 when I had a baby. So I wasn't paying much attention to who I was meeting. I was pretty engrossed with taking care of that baby. Because Carson was born in March, and we went to a family reunion, I think it was in July. And we were at a lake in a cottage, so I was pretty occupied. Don't remember much about it. So this is just a blank that I had done on some sort of junk mail or cereal box. I save a lot of cereal boxes. I must have over a dozen in my craft room waiting to be done. And that might be a video, just opening out a cereal box full size and collaging it and cutting it into tags, like a masterboard, but just done on cardstock cereal box. And then I find it really handy to have them made up already, and they're already dried and hardened, so that when you want to decorate them, they're ready to go. Yeah, so that fits in a little easier. I'm going to put a tab on it, just like on the other one. And because this little wagon has red wheels, I was thinking of this for a tab. This is actually more of a rose pink, but I think that'll work. It looks good with that. And so what I did on the last one was I took my cardstock whale tail tab, and I glued, oh, actually I decided on this, didn't I? Yeah, I did change my mind, because that was a little redder and a little more kind of, it has more of a country vibe. So I cut two of these out. Now, some of you might recognize this from one of my, well, my very first, I think it was, swap video. That this was holding the package closed on that swap, and I saved it. And am I ever glad it did, because it's perfect for this. So I'm going to glue that onto the cardstock because I want this to be nice and durable. Actually, I wanted to do this over to the side a bit on this little piece of paper. I haven't gotten around to giving my mat a deep clean yet, but I do want to try to keep it cleaner. And there we go. I'm not sure if you, yeah, you can see it. I'm trying to get myself trained to do this. Instead of getting my fingers so gluey, to use my tweezers. And in an effort to make myself do it, I pulled out these funky, fancy, cute little girl ones. So maybe I'll use them if they're fun. My other ones were just silver and they blend in over there and I forget about them. So this will probably need to be coerced into creasing because it's duct tape is what it is. You know how in the dollar store for a while there they had, I don't know if she got this at the dollar store. They had it other places too, but for a long time there they had colored duct tapes. And my bone folder shouldn't be far. That's funny. Not funny, haha. Well, you know what we do when we can't find our bone folder, don't you? We use the handle of our scissors. I can use my fingernails too, but I try not to do that. It's hard enough to keep the polish on them. I don't want my sister giving me trouble for having unpolished nails or having ugly nails. So what I'm going to do here in order to get this where I want it is put this in the pocket where it goes in fairly naturally, fairly even from each end. You know what else I found that I thought would be handy instead of trying to use that really long ruler that I have all the time is this little sewing gauge. So check your sewing baskets, ladies and gentlemen. So we're about 5/8 at that end and about the same at this end. So I think we're good there. And that's just going to help me center this up on this. So I want to kind of where it will naturally sit in there. And I'm forgetting to use my tweezers again. Do it right here. And I really like the tacky glue with the upside down bottle. All glue should be in upside down bottles. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let go of it and do it with my fingers. So you line it up. I line it up so that that shoulder is right at the edge of the page. And then it just needs to move over a touch. And that looks nice. I'm going to clamp it just because it's probably gonna tend to not want to stay tight. There, that's a big enough clip to reach. Clamp that for a little while. Be interesting where my bone folder turns up. It's got to be right here somewhere. Oh, there. Oh. It will show up. Okay, so that's that one. And then the other one over here is a long skinny one. I didn't have one selected for that. So let me just go over to where I've got some ready to go. And a skinny one. I work here at my dining room table, which is like 36 by 72, 3 feet by 6 feet. And most of what I need is around the end of the table, behind me on the cart, or the door to the room is about 6 feet away, and I've got one of those shoe organizers with the clear pockets on the back of the door. It's already been set up for a long time to hold my office supplies. And so I'm slowly converting it to include more craft supplies. I'll keep my office supplies there too, because I still do a lot of office type work. I work from home as a kitchen designer, and I do books for myself and my husband and my father. So there's a lot of bookkeeping and that kind of work still happening here. It's not just crafting. Just looking for a little plain piece of paper that's not going to be having anything personal on it. And so these little offcuts can still be tags. I'll still use them as tags. It's not going to be wasted. And let's see now how that fits. Before I go ahead and add yeah, that's perfect. Goes in and out easily, and then this will go on there. So I've got 2 coordinating tabs. They were really hard to cut out with my punch. I might have to, well, I mean, it did work. I had to trim it a little bit by hand. Actually, you know what I'm going to use is these little, I got these given to me at a yard sale when we were camping. I think they were shown in the hall. If you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch. We were camping up at Fitzroy Harbor Provincial Park, north of Ottawa, and I wanted to get camping so badly, but I was almost disappointed because I was going to miss all the yard sales at home. And then when we were heading to the park, we saw a yard sale sign for a community yard sale. It was the weekend after the long weekend, and we were going in on Thursday. So there wasn't any yard sales yet, but we saw the sign and we said, okay, Carson was coming Friday for my birthday. And then Saturday it was supposed to be a little rainy. So we thought, well, rain might affect some of the yard sales, but a lot of them, you know, most of those houses that we saw had garages. So we just imagined that they would still be on. So we got up Saturday morning and went, and I think we hit about a dozen yard sales. I know, I just had the greatest haul. Oh, I was so happy because I really didn't want to miss out on them. And I didn't have to. I got lots of good deals. So you can go back and watch that haul video. I don't do a haul if I only find a couple of things, but if I find enough things to make a worthwhile video, then you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to do a haul of it for you so that you can see what I find. And then I find that when you watch haul videos, or haul videos in general, like I watch Dollar Tree hauls and I watch thrifting hauls, and some people think, well, why would you watch a thrifting haul? You're going to go to the thrift store and those items aren't going to be there, which is true. But it kind of opens your eyes to some of the things that you could be looking for that you might not have thought of. Now this is because when I folded it, it's shrinking away from the edge there. I don't know if that one maybe wasn't cut all the way, and I was trying to cover it with ink, but I'm going to have to trim it, and then I can probably get the rest with ink. You don't see both sides at the same time anyway, so it doesn't really matter that they're not identical. This is my new ink. It's archival, which I don't know that you really need to use archival. I think that's really more for stamping. But I got the mini set because I do want to do some stamping on fabric. And I'm finding that the tea dye, vintage photo that I use a lot it's greener than the vintage photo in the distress inks for some reason. And I don't know if it's always like that. If you know, would you comment and let me know? But yeah, it just seems different in color, but I do like the way that it spreads onto the edges of the paper. This is done with the, what is it? Ground espresso. And I really like that color too. I didn't have that color before. I had walnut stain. And I kind of like to try that. Is it torched timber or scorched timber? That's out now. I'm going to have to do this end. I'm just going to turn that over because this is the side that I will have facing out. That's sitting in there nicely and get this where I want it, and I better clamp it because it's moving around a lot. You know what? I think I got to fix that corner too. That whole top edge is a little wonky. I think it was this one. Oh, that's just not doing it. I'm going to have to... I don't like it when my corner thing doesn't work. There we go. Get this back on here. I'm going to add a little bit more down here where it's touching the tag. Get it started here, and then I'm going to put it in. So some of the glue holds the tab together up here, and some of the glue holds it onto the card with these. Yeah, so that's lining up nicely. Oh, and that already had a little hang notch in it. So maybe I'll have to cover that up with a piece of something. Maybe, I didn't have map on this one, did I? No, my collage is mostly covered up. It was the grass paper, some green paper. I could put a little piece of green on it if I've got that. It needs to be something thick enough to... Oh, there's the green. Some of the green. Maybe a piece of the... Sorry, I'm waffling a bit. Didn't expect this issue. Unexpected issue. Think on my feet. There's the one I was thinking of. So, tear it towards me. Don't need a very big piece. And then maybe I'll add some more green down at the bottom just so it's not the only piece on the page. And usually I would do that with the glue stick, but I think I'm going to use that. Just cover that up, kind of poke it in underneath there. And then I'm just gonna ink that a little because it's a little bit of white showing there. And then I'll add some more down here. It's probably gonna get decorated further because I did decorate the other one with a bit of a collage. It might even end up with some grass green on it because I think that paper is unique. It's good for this particular project because of the design on the front. And I'm just gonna tear these edges too. I'm really going to decorate these yet, but I could. So this other one, I did a sentiment, well, 3 sentiments and a stamp, and that was about it. So this one I've got my greens. What sort of sentiments with little red wagon, little green wagon? It's more gardening themed. Hadn't thought about it yet, but I could do the same sentiment. And see how that inking looks green? It looks green on here too. Now maybe yesterday when I was doing this, I had blue on my thing or something, because it's looking a little more brown now. Oh, about the same. Try to be good about putting the lid back on my ink. Okay, so I'm gonna basically do the same thing because I can do something different next time. So I'm gonna do that. And then 2 words. I used create and laugh. So maybe joy and hope, or smile, or wish and joy. So these were a little chunky, which is kind of why I cut them out and saved them. But I think I'm going to cut them down like I did these ones and do some layering. So I did fancy edge scissors to make them a little smaller. I like the big writing, big font. I'll just kind of keep all my scraps over there from where I cut. And then what I did with these ones was, this one's layered onto a piece of the map, so maybe I could layer it onto a piece of the grass in this case. Because who doesn't feel joy when they go barefoot in the grass? I've been trying to do that more often. Brian planted some trees. He started them from scratch and planted them over on the other side of the yard mostly. And so at the end of the day when he wants to go look at his trees, I've been going with them and taking off my shoes, whatever shoes I've been wearing. Oh, that's not going to tear now. I should have. And going barefoot across the lawn to look at the trees, because I just think it's such a refreshing thing to do. And they say it's really good for you to be grounded like that in nature more often. It's supposed to even help with inflammation, which of course at this age I'm starting to get some. So joy and wish, or joy and happy. That's basically the same thing. Could do different, that's 3 different fonts. I'm inking this more so just to cover the white, not to get a lot of antiquing on it. So I'm holding it 90 degrees to the paper instead of like 45 degrees to the paper where you're going to get more on the front. I'm just trying to cover up the white. I don't really want to cover up the greenness of it. And I want these to be not, I don't have anything too three-dimensional on them because I want it to go in out of the pocket easy. When I do a pocket in a journal that's low, I can decorate like the top of the tag with something more dimensional. But this one is got to go almost all the way down into the pocket, so I don't want anything that's going to stop it from doing that. Even though this pocket does have a little bit of room in it, these ones are very tight. I didn't really care for the way they turned out from that perspective. And this one, I think I'm just going to ink it and glue it down. So I'm just going to run it across my glue stick. It's a little bit square for my liking, but that's okay. And then I did have a little post stamp there, so let me see what I've got that's similar to that. I did have some postage stamps out here, and I was wanting to use some red because of the little red wheels on the wagon. And I don't use a lot of red. I'm a purple, pink, blue person. And so I think that could also just be, this is nice and warm and stringy right now. And that just gives that a little bit of color to relate back to this red. It's a different red, but that's okay. You always get different reds when it comes to red because it's such a hard color. And that has stayed pretty well without even being clamped. I'll take that other clamp off. So that's good. I want to ink the edges. And I do have a little edge there that needs to come off. So because it's so small, I'm going to use these little guys. I'm just worried that if I leave that and ink it and hope nobody will notice it, that it'll be a spot where it's going to loosen off. Everywhere else looks good. So here, 45-degree angle-ish, maybe more like a 30-degree angle, puts more ink on the face of the tag. I'll just do the back side too. I love the pattern in this coffee dyed paper. I'm just about ready to spend a day doing that again. It's probably been about a month since Kimberly and I did some coffee dyeing. I've used up a lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So that, oh, that's got to be stuck down a little better. The glue stick might do. Doesn't need much. That might be a problem spot. Right down at the bottom edge. So that will go in there. That will live in there. And then the front of this little handmade pouch, pocket, is going to have another sentiment at the bottom. Well, I think it is. I used a butterfly on the other one, which I do think would work here. I've got some butterflies picked out for this journal. Instead of the dragonfly that I used on the other one, I'm going to use this again for the red and green. And I have a couple of other butterflies picked out for different areas, like I had used one down here. And I used one up here. So yeah, I think that one's a good size for there. It's much too white. I'm gonna have to ink it. And then I had a sentiment layered up with map underneath it, but I could use, again, I could use the grass paper. Like that. And then what kind of a sentiment? This one had a little saying on it. I have a lot of them in here. What one did I use already? On the tag I used make each day a great adventure. Good things take time. Does that sort of relate to, I guess, the flowers? Wild and free. Have a beautiful day. That's too wide for there. A bunch of little ones here, let's see. I want it to make sense with the theme. What you are comes to you. Be true to you. Nobody is perfect. Flourish. That works for me. Enjoy the little things would also be something that I would like. Let's do enjoy the little things. So that's much too white around the edges. Either trim it. And then I'm going to ink it. When I'm doing something small, I don't even put my ink pad back on, my ink dauber back on the ink pad. I just use up the ink that's on there. And then I'm going to put that down onto the grass, on the grassy knoll. Where did the butterfly go that I was going to use? I was going to ink it, remember? Wasn't this one? Oh, there it is. So that's got the same bright green on it, so that's good. But I'm just wondering if I should add a little more texture here, and this is something I didn't do on the other one, but I can do it on this one. Is a little bit of fabric. I did have some of this over here on the other one. And I've got, this is from the purse that I got at that same bunch of yard sales. And I tore it apart. So that's probably not a bad width. A little bit wide. Give it a little rip. I might be able to reuse that piece as well, or maybe even some of those threads, believe it or not. So that's a good width. And then just to sort of fill in this space a little, maybe I put the butterfly on that. That would look good too. I think it's a vellum. It's got that plasticky backing and it feels like vellum on the front. That might look good on the fabric. Wish it was flatter. And I do have a way to iron it, but you'll all laugh at me. But I'm gonna do it just to show you. Realized I let Brian leave for the celebration of life. He asked me to iron his shirt, and we kind of both laughed because I don't iron. He says, "Do you have an iron handy?" I says, "I only iron for crafting." This is what I use to iron my ribbons and things. So I start even when it's cool. And just, it's already heating up. I can feel it on the fabric. And just iron with this instead of pulling out the big iron. In fact, I shouldn't even keep it in the bathroom. I just walked into the bathroom and got it. I never use it on my hair. I only use it for crafting, so I should have it in my craft cart. So I just want this flatter so that the sticker will stick down to it easier. And I don't mind the fraying. I might cut some of those long pieces off, but I like the fraying. So yeah, decision made. This is staying out here from now on. My plug is right behind me. And I can just put it on my little craft cart here. Find a home for it. So let's do, I want to leave that showing. So let's also cut this. Tear this here. I think I already cut it for width, didn't I? I did. Anyway, I like this shape, so we'll do this. Oh, I might have to iron it again. No, that's not tearing well this time. Give it another little snip. I'll just give this a haircut. These little scissors are so handy, and I just think they're so cute. Anyway, let's get some of that off of there. I find that I'm always, the first one I do is good, the next one I do is even better, and every one after that is better and better and better of anything that I make. You know, the prototype will be nice, but as you go along and you try different things and you get out different ephemera, or just watch another video and get another idea or whatever it is. They get better each time. So a lot of the times the first thing that I make will just stay in my prototype box, especially when I get starting to sell them. And I'm talking more from experience selling the jewelry, making and selling jewelry. If I made a certain style or design of necklace, the first time I made it, it would be nice and make me want to make another one. Nice enough that I'd want to make another one. But the third, fourth, fifth one would be better and better and better. Second one's better, but then they start getting really good. So that's just the way I craft. Figure it out as I go. Let's see, so many different people have different ways to do this. Let's try a little pick. This one I had, one of them has like a flat edge. That might be good for getting in underneath. There, I've got it, but I forgot to ink it, so I'm going to grab a paper clip and stick it in between. Just give that some ink in case it turns out white against my burlap or canvas fabric. Don't want that. I have an abundance of butterflies right now because I had a recent swap where I told her I like butterflies, and did she ever deliver? I got butterflies galore. I think it even said that in the title of the video. So I'm doing a lot of butterflies. Not hoarding them, I'm trying to use them. And that might need some glue. Let's just see how that does for the next few minutes. I do like the way that looks on the fabric though. And then some of these little strings, I'm gonna have them poking out. Here. Like that. And maybe even another little bit of this down here. When I find a theme that I like, I go with it. So I will pop down a little bit of glue for this, and a little bit of glue for the strings. And give that some good glue too. I can give all that a haircut later if I need to. I should be using this for this, so it doesn't stick. There, I want them showing. I just want them tucked under, I want them showing. And I'll just cut this off, I think. Just press that down a bit. So that's even a little more interesting than the first one, I would say. Similar but different. It's just how I roll. I like to do things the same, only different. And then on the back side of that, I had a little collage with a little piece of writing paper. So I'll see about this same paper. Trying to keep the writing paper the same. I think I have a scrap of it here. Yep. And maybe a little bit of the grass. And what else? I have these out, but they're not really the right theme. They're not outdoorsy at all. So I'll put those back. Could put another butterfly. Got a green one here. Maybe instead of the postage stamp idea. Although I've got another little faux postage stamp that has some red in it. That might be good. I'll just see how I am for this paper because I want some for in that little envelope. I've got this stuff too. I could use this. It's just about the right height. And then it's not the same thing side by side here. There's two pieces of it. I like this one that has the straight edge, and then I'll tear it a little bit more top and bottom. And down the side here. I'm going to put the square edge sort of up against the square here, and that gets glued right down because I said so. I just watched a video this morning where the girl, instead of gluing it down on something like this, very similar to this, she just glued it at the top so you could still write underneath it as well, which I thought was a cute idea too. And I've got a lot of little mini clips and clothespins and stuff that I could use to kind of make that work. I'm going to put the postage stamp sideways like I did on the other one. I'll ink it. And this is a faux postage stamp, but it looks kind of real because it has that glossy finish that postage stamps have. I don't think the old ones used to have that, but they do these days. That's a little thicker, so I'm going to just use some tacky. I find that the thinner paper is okay with the Elmer's, but this thicker paper, sometimes it just seems to absorb more of the glue from the glue stick, so it doesn't do the job as well. And then a little strip of the grass, I think. I don't want to cover this torn edge up completely though, so maybe I'll put it along the bottom here and it'll relate to that. And ink this nicely. I don't know about you, but I just find this to be so much fun. I told Brian we have to go out to dinner tonight at 5. I said, I better set myself an alarm for 4. He says, why? I said, because I'll get so engrossed in what I'm doing, I'll forget that I have to get ready to go out. And I had a piece of ruler on the other one, but I don't want to lose that edge. In fact, I'm going to ink it just a touch around the edges. So that's that little flip out, I think, completely done. I think Could maybe use something else up in here, but I don't want to put another butterfly there. Got enough butterflies. Oh, I know, I've got these little labels. They're just Temu labels, but let's put a number 1 there. Up in this corner. That's just a little something. The pad doesn't need anything else, maybe just some ink. Almost at an hour. So I'm gonna have to cut this off soon. So maybe the next video will be decorating the other pocket. I don't want to make them too long. I don't mind watching a long video sometimes if it's interesting, but I find that if I'm strapped for time, I do look at how long a video is before I even decide whether I'm going to watch it. But I also will fast forward sometimes through a video if it's long, because I do want to see how it turns out or whatever. So I'll stop it there. I love that little flip out. Can't believe it took me an hour to do that. Well, I did this over here too, but I hope you enjoyed watching me decorate this little section of the folio, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.